Hey guys, it's Oracle Daphne. My name is Beth. I am back for your mid-December tarot monthly horoscopes for everyone with their sun, moon, or ascendant in Cancer. And I've just been giving little short updates on what's going on with me. I've moved all the way across the country, drove for 7 days to get here, and then I stayed in a hotel for about 10 days waiting for my apartment to be open or available. And then when I went to move in, there was a water leak in the ceiling and the walls, so I decided not to take the apartment. But I'm moving into a new one tomorrow, so that's awesome. I just found out, and I'm really excited about it. So I will be able to do a lot more videos now that I kind of have like a foundation and I'm not worried about having to stay in a hotel forever. So that's what's going on. And yeah, so the other thing is I've completed my deck. My deck has now upright positions and reverse positions. And some of them are double yeses and double nos. Some of them are a yes upright. Some of them are a no upright, and vice versa. Some of them don't have a yes or no, and some of them are so they're kind of neutral, and then some of them are like, there's one wild card, which is the card that is kind of like my least favorite, but you have to have a wild card in every deck. So this deck I've really enjoyed working on, and I am drinking this evening this tropical goodness. It's got it's got a cool different vibe, you know. I imagine that I am, sipping it on the edge of a tropical Bahama pearly white beach somewhere, you know. And it's kind of getting my vibe going here. The other thing too is I've acquired this beautiful boytroidal agate. It was not expensive, but it's a really interesting looking stone. Most people, might not really understand why I got it. It's kind of quirky and it looks kind of weird, but the thing is that this stone, and I somehow have like a connection to the stone, so I can get messages from the stone. The stone has a lot of information. It would almost be like if I had like a consultant sitting here with me who is psychic. I would consult with them and be like, so what do you think, this means? And they'd be like, well, I think it means this, or you should say that. And this is like my quirky little sidekick here. And I appreciate this little stone, and it appreciates me. So I'm working with this. So that's the other thing that's going on. Oh, I am still doing private readings. I'd love to do one if you haven't had one. All you need to do is email me, and I'll send you a couple of dates and times that are free in my schedule, and then we can kind of go from there. I am doing special readings for the year of 2015. If you'd like a overview of the whole year, going through a reading basically for every single month. It's 2 hours and it's $250 because it's really intensive. And I'm kind of thinking almost like 2 hours might not be totally enough, but I'm going to see how it kind of goes, because this is my first time doing them that are this long or this in depth for this specific thing. But I think I'm really excited about them. So if you want one, feel free to email me, and it's a great time because it's the end of the year and everybody's trying to gear up for the next year and kind of plan ahead. And this is just kind of give you a sneak peek or a preview of what the year is going to look like for you, rather than me doing like a year-long like Cancer or Aquarius or something reading. I'm going to do, I prefer to do them privately because I feel like doing that is a little bit more specific, and it's going to give you guys more of what you really need. And then without further ado, let's just see what we've got here. I've been shuffling. Okay, so it's funny because you had this card pop out, And when I was not paying attention, I stuck it back in, but it came out again. It's the track that you were on, which is the Empress, okay? Oh, my cards are like jumping. Cancer, this is a sign, okay? Things are really popping for you. Things are really happening for you. My cards are just jumping all over the place. So I'm just going to put out the rest here. Okay, so this is the Empress. This is the path that you're on. The Empress is this amazing, magical energy. I think of her as a summer fairy. Cancer men, this is, and women. This is the power to achieve your heart's desire. Artistic creativity, love and magic. This is, it's sort of like the equivalent of what I've done with my tarot deck. I took a regular deck of cards that anybody has, and I turned it into something that nobody has, and something that I feel is very special to me. And it is one of those things. So that's what an artist does, and I'm an artist. I went to art school. I paint and I draw, and I'm very creative. So it's just an extension of my creativity. And I feel like the path that you're on is very creative. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, if you're not tapping into your creativity, or you're not doing anything creative, this is a time to start. This is a time to start taking art classes. This is a time to start taking that pottery class that you want to take. This is a time to start building things, making things. This would be a great time to work on a project that is a unique project that nobody has, inventing things, I feel like one of you is like an architect, someone's like building, maybe like a contractor, maybe, I feel like somebody does that. I can't really quite put my finger on it, but it's sort of like, I see a guy who's like kind of going into Home Depot a lot, or he's working on, he's just like, he's got a lot of tools. I don't know, he's carrying around like a lot of tools. He does things with tools. I don't know, in projects, and build stuff. And I feel like what he'd like to do is get into something that's like, maybe like environmentally friendly kind of like architecture or buildings or things like that with like solar panels. This is really different than what a lot of other people would do or think to do, and he does it in his own way. So if you're that person, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you. But ladies, I feel like you're more, a lot of you do like needlework and like things with paints and things with, I feel like even quilting and fabrics and things like that. I think of like the fashion designer when I think of this. Someone who's just really artsy and out there and does their own thing and has kind of wild hair. And if you're that person, let me know. And then what's crossing you is this Six of Pentacles card, which is really odd for you. It's odd. It does make sense, because if you're doing all these projects, these creative projects, you're having to put a lot of money into it. That's the thing. Maybe you're starting your own business, and you're trying to, you've got to you're basically this guy who's pouring money down onto this plant below. And it may be that there's resentment in your relationship, because a lot of times this is resentment in a relationship. Feeling like you do so much for the other person, and the other person doesn't do anything for you, or vice versa. Cancer, you may be that little green plant at the bottom, where your partner is just like, spends a lot of money on you, or puts a lot of money into the relationship or the partnership, and you don't really put as much financially into it. You may put your heart and soul into it, but you don't put finances, into it. And so there's resentment there. or Cancer, I feel like there's a lot of Cancer guys that are watching this for some reason, and if you're the person up here who's putting a lot of money into their relationship, and the other person is, just on the receiving end of this money, and you put a lot into it. There's just a strange element of like, needing to balance out the giving and receiving stuff, especially on the financial end of things. Giving and receiving is an issue. The foundation is, it says, the dissolution of a business partner. A long-term business partner who supports which would be a long-term business partner who supports your ideas. Working on a new business that will be very lucrative. I take that back. I feel like it's the dissolution of a business partner. But I think there's another partner. There's somebody else. That's what I'm thinking. There's somebody else. There's a long-term business partner who does support your ideas, but they're not the same as the one that you had. So I feel like maybe you were in business with somebody and like that's come to an end, but you're like going to start like a whole new business partnership down the line somewhere. And maybe you're working on a new business. To me, this feels a lot like a new business. This is what has to happen when you start your own business. You put a lot of money and effort into it. And the new business, I feel like it's going to be lucrative. I feel like it's going to be good. That's the foundation. So I feel like that's coloring everything. So that's what your December, I feel like, is about. Mid-December is really too just checking in, finding out where you're at. But I feel like a lot of you Cancers are wanting to start your own business, wanting to kind of branch out, kind of partnering up with somebody who's going to be really beneficial for you in the long run. In the recent past, it's interesting. It says plans go awry, or they don't get off the ground, or they don't go as planned. Not wanting to move, but needing to anyways. Biting off more than you can chew. This is the reverse of the moving card. So it's sort of like, you make plans to move and things aren't really going your way, or you're doing something that it's not really going the way you want it to go. And a lot of times it is. It's like dreaming really, really big, and you're just kind of biting off more than you can chew and not quite being able to chew it all, or really get it to be as good as it would be had you kind of done things on like a little bit of a smaller scale. I don't like this card. This is a weird card that's popping up here. It says, this is the reverse of this, what I call the determination card. And it's a neutral card. It doesn't have a yes or a no as the reverse, but it's very, very, I'd say intense. It says to be outnumbered, bullied, abused, hit, hospitalized, and retreat. This is coming out of nowhere for me. I feel like, I feel like some of you have been hospitalized for some things. Some really negative stuff. And those of you who have had maybe domestic violence stuff come up, I'm feeling that too. I feel like some of you are in abusive relationships where things are fine for a period of time and then things get really out of hand. and things have gotten, I feel like that's what's crowning you right now. Maybe this just happened, and you're just kind of trying to relax and you're watching one of my crazy videos with my antlers, and you're going, this is accurate. And I almost don't know what to say, because I feel like this is kind of so intense and kind of so awful that I almost can't really address it. It's sort of like, no matter what I say, it's sort of like I'm at a loss for words. And I can only say, that you have my, my love and my sympathy. And no matter what you're going through, this is clearly a tough time for you. Clearly. I mean, this is a really hard time, I feel like there's this conflict. I feel like there was this conflict. And I feel like this conflict caused either hospitalization or this abusive situation. It might have just been an abusive situation. But I feel like it's just very strongly that something has happened, domestic violence has happened, and you're just kind of in a state of shock, and maybe you're kind of just trying to recover from it. And just know that it's important to have determination. So what this card in the upright has, this person in the upright here has, is determination to get through everything, no matter what happens. And I feel like, Cancer, you need to have that determination to get through this. You need to be determined that you're going to get through this, that once you get through this, things are going to be better, and you're going to find a way to get either out of this relationship or get some help. And I would say social services type help, family help, friends help, counseling. That kind of work is necessary for you. That's my feeling. But I'm sorry this is going, you're going through this time. This is not good around Christmas. A lot of things like this happen around Christmas time, and I'm not sure why. It's such an odd thing, But I think what happens is sort of like at the end of the year, it's like a make it or break it point. I think people get to like a breaking point. There's all this pressure to be happy and to have this tree and to be kind of in the Christmas mood, and you might be people might just be in an awful place in their life, whether it's a sucky relationship, a sucky job, just an awful, sucky financial situation, and they may just be kind of at a breaking point, and I feel like that's kind of where you're at. You're kind of like, right now, you're at kind of a breaking point. And the universe is pushing you to that breaking point to test your strength, to test your determination, to test your will. And they're pushing you because it's a time where it's like at the very end, it's sort of like when your tooth is loose, when you're a kid. Your tooth is loose, and you wiggle it, and you wiggle it, and you wiggle it. And then there's that last little bit, that last little thread that's hanging on, that root. And it's hard because this is December, December is like where you're hanging on by a thread, and there's a separation, going into from December to the new year, there's a separation. I feel like it's actually like an energetic separation from come to an ending point, and then you start at the beginning. And are you going to pull the tooth out, or are you just going to leave it there to fester like that and continue to bleed? And the universe usually just steps in and says, no, you're going to take it out. Take it out. And the tooth comes out and the blood starts gushing, and it's just like, okay. But then the tooth is out, and at least moving into the new year, you can start fresh. It may be a bad example, but that's kind of how I see it. There's this pulling away, I should say, a pulling away, a ripping apart in December. And that's why a lot of older people pass away at this time, and this is why this the veil is thinner, because it's the winter time here in the northern hemisphere, and it's just it's sort of just, it's that time of separation. It's the time of making decisions. It's that time of letting go of the old, embracing the new. And I feel like if you're in a domestic violence situation, you absolutely need to get some help. You absolutely need to have people there that support you. You absolutely need to get back to feeling like yourself again, feeling like having faith in life again, and not letting anything get to you. Now, if you're just retreating, okay, I feel like it could be that you've had a business situation that's kind of come up, and you've bitten off more than you can chew, and you're kind of in retreat mode. You're kind of just like trying to like save as much as you can, salvage what you can of maybe a business that went under, or a business deal that went down, or something where you're just trying to like save what you can of it, and salvage it and save as much money as you can. You're kind of in retreat mode. But I feel like you're not headed in the right direction. You're actually, again, it's just funny, the crab doesn't move back, it moves sideways, okay? So right now, you're going sideways. You're just like, you're not going forward, you're not really going back, you're going sideways, you're retreating, okay? And you're not embracing, you're not going forward in an offensive type thing in life. You're kind of retreating, and you're like, you're resisting, putting the hands out. You're resisting change, and resisting needing to move, because you need to move. Okay, that's number one. You need to move. If you're in a relationship with someone and something happened recently, domestic violence happened, and it's because you were supposed to move. Okay, it's because you were supposed to get the hell out of there, and then boom, the universe is like, no, you're not supposed to be there. This is a wake-up call for you, and you need to move, okay? Some of you who are not in any kind of domestic violence situation, you're just not wanting to move, not wanting to make changes, retreating instead of going forward and saying, no, I don't want to, no. It's leading to this, the reverse of the Three of Wands, which is a double no card, okay? And the reverse of the Three of Wands is life is a roller coaster, settling for something because it feels safe, knowing it's time to change for the better, and yet getting stuck on one track thinking. It's sort of like I feel like you're in a relationship, or you're in this mode of thinking it's only got to be done this one way. Or you can only get out of this relationship if you get another apartment, or if you get another job. And in order to get a job, you have to go back to school. In order to go back to school, you got to get funding, and you don't have any funding. So it's like, how can you possibly get out of this relationship? So you're just in a really bad situation when that thinking is one track. It needs to be, your brain needs to be more like a spider's web, okay, of possibilities and ideas, and it needs to be more about, okay, how am I going to tackle this problem in a creative way? Thinking that there's more than one option, knowing at all times there's always more than one option, with the exception of dying. Okay, there's no option, you just die. That's it. Okay, but in a way, there is more than one option to get there, because some people, drink themselves to death, and then that's their choice, so that's their option, I guess. But still, I would say in life, there's always more than one choice. There's always another way to do something, even if doing that, sometimes it's an attitude adjustment. It's doing something with a more positive attitude. It may be doing the same thing, but with a positive attitude. So that's where you're stuck. That's what's going on. You're thinking, oh, I can only do what you want to do a certain way. Oh, I can only leave this relationship if I do X, Y, and Z. Oh, I can only, start this business if I have $1 million. No, that's not how it goes. That's not true. Emotionally, you've got you've got the Chariot, which is a lot of water. This is you. This is the Cancer, Scorpio. I think of Aquarius too here. This is riding high with success. Absolute definite success. Fast, swift, good news. This is also you kind of traveling really fast. I feel like some of you could have gotten into a car accident. You were going too fast for some reason and you missed something and somebody hit you. And that's why you were in the hospital. Others, I just feel like emotionally, you're way ahead of yourself. Emotionally, it's your emotions that are leading the way, which is typical for a Cancer, but it's not really good for you because you want to have a balance between head energy and emotions. And if you're going too fast, which is what I kind of feel like you're doing, it ends up being more destructive than positive. Even though I feel like you want success and you want it like that, You want it fast. You want it now, And it may not be happening as fast as you want it. And what's coming in from the outside is the Five of Wands, which is having a lot of things you got to do, a lot of responsibilities, things on your plate, places you got to be, people you got to see, and you got to pay the bills too, That's what's coming in from the outside. Your attitude is you see potential. You see the potential in what you're doing. You see the potential in others. You see the potential in maybe a relationship, a new relationship. Potential to have something more. The problem with Cancers is that they cling on to the past. Even if they see the potential of something in the future, they'll still cling on to the past with that pincher, and with that claw, And so it's very important for you to just stay positive no matter what. That's what's coming to me. And Critter's saying be kind and be kind to others. I don't know why that's coming through, but it is. And the outcome is, it says, needing to open your mind, becoming more childlike, to have more fun, to not worry. To me, this is the not worrying card, okay? And Cancers get so bogged down in emotions that they typically worry. They worry a lot. They get very upset. They get very stressed out. And this is a girl who is taking care of her 4 or 5 stuffed animals, and she's just feeding the family and paying the bills and going grocery shopping and taking the car to the to get a car wash and doing the dry cleaning, and you know what I'm saying. You're just doing the average, you're like a homemaker type person, and but you've got a lot of worries on your mind, and you need to open your mind to all the possibilities. Again, it goes back to having one-track thinking, maybe thinking the only job you're going to get is X, Y, and Z job. And that's not true. You could get another job. If you're a housewife, there are other jobs that you could get than just what you're thinking. Maybe you think you're not qualified for a job. Well, you need to work on your resume. You need to seek, somebody like a career counselor or somebody like that to help you. But the thing is money is coming in because of the fish in this card, because there's fish coming in here. Money is fish. So money is coming in. I feel like you're worried because you feel like it's not enough money. And it never is. But thinking that you're only able to do this one thing and you're going to stick to getting minimum wage, or you're, for whatever reason, I feel like Cancers cling on to the negative things and don't embrace any of the new stuff. So instead of going out and working on your resume or updating your wardrobe or doing something new that would actually help you get a new job that would pay you more, you're just going to cling on to the past and just cry about it. You're just going to cry about it and be sad about it when you should do practical things to get you to achieving more, because you're worth it, you know? But let go of the negative stuff. Say, let go. I'm going to let go of that negative stuff, and I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to go out there and get a better job that pays me more money so that I am not stuck here thinking about every single dollar that I spent. It's important that you do that. And I'm adamant about it tonight, but that's just, I guess, that's just me being adamant. So have a lovely and restful and happy holiday, Cancer. And, you know, my sympathy is to you as far as whatever it is that you're going through right now. It's obviously a tough time, but I feel like things are going to get better in the future. And I do think that you're going to have to beat the world off with a stick for a little while, but I feel like things at the end of December, early January should get easier for you, and just, you know, continue to see the positive. Don't get bogged down with the negative, and enjoy your life. And I send you big hugs, big kisses, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care.